Good evening. You're watching The Right Stand here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. Let's first tell you about the highlights of the day. In a groundbreaking achievement, ISRO has successfully returned the propulsion module of Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft into the Earth's orbit after surpassing its lunar mission objectives. ISRO said that the propulsion module orbit transition involved a series of maneuvers, including an orbit-raising maneuver and a trans-Earth injection maneuver, ultimately placing the propulsion module in the Earthbound orbit. ISRO also highlighted that this experiment aims to derive additional information for future lunar missions and demonstrate mission operation strategies for a sample return mission. This could also mean that we can now successfully perhaps bring back a human from the moon back to India as well. A report released by S&P Global revealed that India will become the third largest economy by 2030. India, remember, currently is the fifth largest economy in the world behind United States, China, Germany and Japan. The country's GDP is likely to grow from 6.4% this year to 7% in 2026. The report stated that a strong logistics framework will be key in transforming India from a services-dominated economy into a manufacturing-dominant one. The Finance Ministry informed the Parliament today that nearly 80 million tax returns were filed until the 2nd of December and more are expected to be filed by the end of this month. The central government conducted 11 job fairs, that is Rozgar Mela, so far between October of last year and November this year. 7 lakh individuals have been given jobs so far under that program. Prime Minister Modi reviewed the status of human resources in all departments across ministries. He also instructed that the recruitment of 10 lakh people be done by the central government in mission mode, and that needs to be done in the next 1.5 years. On to now the top focus on The Right Stand. 5 state results came out in the last 48 hours. The Congress was voted out of 2 of those states that they were in power. They were a distant second in a state they thought was in their kitty, that was Madhya Pradesh. And a loss in Mizoram that broke a 36-year pattern of picking Congress and MNF governments. A local party has now been voted into power there. Telangana's victory, and a resounding one for the Congress, perhaps is the only solace, many would say. A definitive road bump in the 2024 juggernaut nonetheless as far as these results go. BJP's win in the Hindi heartland, on the other hand, is a definite fillip for the party's Lok Sabha chances. These states contribute largely when voters pick their members of parliament. Now, in any election, there are winners and there are losers, but one must take it in their stride. It is, in fact, the same voter who's judging your merit, one way or the other. But unfortunately, it's easier said than done, it seems. We've seen a new narrative that was drummed up in the last 2 days, a North versus the South one. The voting pattern and its study is perfectly all right to do for any political party, but to get away by mocking voters of a certain region, is that okay? Or will the public actually punish them for it? Well, the Prime Minister today warned against exactly that. Prime Minister Modi took a swipe at the opposition, specifically the Congress party, who was trying to make this a North versus South fight. Now, he didn't name anyone, but on social media earlier today, he said that some may be happy with their arrogance, with their lies, with their pessimism and with their ignorance. He also then went on to warn the voters of the country. He said, beware of this divisive agenda. He added that the old habit of 70 years cannot go away so easily. So he was talking about the grand old party, the Congress party here. Such is the wisdom of the people, said the Prime Minister, that they have to be prepared for many more meltdowns ahead. That, of course, was met with an equal rebuttal coming in from the Congress party. Now, every political party conducts a brainstorming session to pinpoint where the fault lines lie as far as electoral losses are concerned. Introspection, if you will, and lessons to overturn this loss in the future. But the grand old party has blamed the voter on a couple of occasions in the past as well. In 2023, just a few months ago, Randeep Singh Surjewala, one of the top leaders of the Congress party, had come out and said that those who vote for the BJP are like Rakshasas, they're like demons. Rahul Gandhi, back in 2021, remember, he was a member of parliament from Amethi for a long time. Then he got elected from Wayanad in Kerala. He was in Kerala while he was campaigning, where he said that voters in Kerala are interested in issues. They don't necessarily look at it superficially. They go into detail. He was hinting at how this was different from what he had witnessed when he was campaigning in Amethi. In the same year, Udit Raj, in 2019 in fact, had said that Kerala voters are educated. Hence, the BJP doesn't win any seats there because the educated voter will never vote for the BJP, is what Udit Raj had come out and said. Now, a few months ago, when DMK's minister Udayanidhi Stalin made a comment and called for the eradication of the Sanatan Dharma, the statement went almost unopposed by the Congress party, an ally of the DMK. But today, the Congress seems to have taken a stand as far as DMK Member of Parliament Senthil Kumar's comments are concerned. Yet, they're still alliance partners. Now, the DMK has held such a stance for a very long time. Sample this. Let's talk about some of the comments that have been made by the DMK leaders in the past. Beginning with Senthil Kumar himself. This was a comment that he made on the floor of the parliament today. A comment that has now been expunged. He says that BJP can't win in any of the southern states. They only win in the northern belt or the Hindi heartland. He tagged them as Gaumutra states. We then had Udayanidhi Stalin a couple of months ago who called for eradication of the Sanatan Dharma. He said it was like dengue and malaria and that it should be ended. He was not the only one. Several within the DMK ecosystem, if I could say that, came out and made similar comments. We had A. Raja, a former union minister himself, come out and said that Sanatan Dharma is as disgusting as HIV. In fact, dengue malaria does not have the kind of stigma that HIV has, and that is something that Sanatan Dharma has, is what he had gone on to say. Hinduism is the biggest menace in this country and that must be fought, was what A. Raja had come out and said. Several such comments have been made in the past by different leaders of the DMK. We've had M. Karunanidhi also in the past come out and talk about how Valmiki himself had said that Lord Ram was a drunkard. We have another leader here coming in, Rajiv Gandhi of the DMK. He said if we followed Periyar, we wouldn't have struggled with Brahmanism. Once again, the anti-Hindu tirade that we've seen coming in from the DMK leaders, there was no end to that. We then had another DMK MLA who tweeted an image of Savarkar on a bird that was hitting Vishnu. He said this was the kind of politics that the BJP was actually involved in. MK Stalin, the chief of the party now and the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, had said that even Brahmin priests cannot understand these shlokas. In fact, when you see the yagna, the havan that happens at during a wedding, the bride and the groom are always crying. So why exactly does that happen? These are the kind of comments that have been made. And like I said, Mr. M. Karunanidhi himself in the past has said that I will always remain a critic of Ramayana because even Valmiki had said that Lord Ram was a drunkard. Something that many in this country have taken objection to. So where do we see this North versus South debate go forward from here? 2024 is just 6 months away. Public memory may not be that short and this could really come back to haunt the Congress and the other allies with whom the DMK is now in alliance. So who really has the edge as far as South of India is concerned? Let's take a look at the kind of strength that we're talking about as far as members of parliament and their vote share is really concerned. Let's take a look at some of those states that you see on your screens. We're talking about Telangana first. Look at the kind of margins that are there for the BJP and the Congress, the MPs and the MLAs there. Many would say the difference is quite a lot. But the BJP says that we are definitely making inroads and they would start with Telangana, which just recently went to elections where they did see their tally jump from 1 in the last elections to over 10 this time around. That is something that they're talking about. Let's move on to the next state now that we're talking here as far as southern India is concerned, and this is Andhra Pradesh. There too, if you take a look at the tally between the Congress and the BJP, you will see a difference there. So many would say the Congress still has an edge there. But will that edge be blunted given the kind of comments that have come to the fore from an ally of its DMK? That's the big question that many are asking today, and that's really what perhaps the BJP is banking on as well. Let's take a look at Karnataka now. Here is where the BJP has its stronghold as far as MPs are concerned. The BJP there, look at the vote share as far as MLAs go and MPs go. Both those situations, both at the state level and at the central level for Karnataka, you do see the BJP have a definite lead over the Congress party. That is something that they're cashing in on as far as 2024 goes as well. Tamil Nadu, let's look at that now. As far as MPs go and as far as members of parliament go, the difference is quite a bit. But many would suggest that it's only the DMK, an ally of the Congress and on whom the Congress is piggybacking. Exactly why is the only reason that the Congress actually does have any say in Tamil Nadu on its own. Perhaps they will not be able to do much. This is what the state of affairs is as far as some of the southern states are concerned. So who exactly does have the edge? Kerala again. We had Congress members of parliament, Congress leaders come out and say that there are educated, literate voters in Kerala, which is why they do not vote for the BJP. One more reason why the BJP says that they're trying to drive a wedge as far as north and south is concerned, trying to portray voters in northern India as illiterate, and that is something that will haunt Congress and now perhaps the entire India alliance. Puducherry is the union territory in the south of India. There too, the BJP has little to no presence. The Congress, of course, trying to cash in on the presence that they have there. But how exactly is the South going to vote, and will that actually help the Congress and the India alliance come 2024? Well, we'll find out in 6 months from now. But the kind of comments that we see from the DMK or from others within the India alliance, will they haunt and will they hurt the Congress party the most? That's the big question tonight.
डीएमके ने ये पहली बार नहीं किया। उनकी तो नफरत की दुकान, विभाजन की दुकान लगातार चल रही है।
Hello, Moto.
Joining me on this edition of The Right Stand, Gopal, Krishna, Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP, Mohan, Reddy, spokesperson of the Congress Party, political analyst Pulla Rao joins us, and senior journalist Savio Rodriguez with us on this broadcast as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on this debate of The Right Stand. Let me begin by asking Mr. Reddy of the Congress Party. So we've seen the DMK member of parliament now come out and apologize. He says, I could have used better words and not called the Hindi belt or the Hindi heartland as Gaumutra states. But public memory really isn't that short. Do you think this is something people will forget?
Let me limit the topic to DMK itself. It is not Congress one.
Sure.
So the statement from DMK leader, so the response should be made, and it should be from there and on. It is not. It should not be attributed to Congress in any way.
It's not being attributed to the Congress at all, sir, but you are in alliance with the DMK in Tamil Nadu and of course as part of the India alliance. Many within the Congress party themselves believe that the 3 Hindi heartland states that you lost elections in 2 days ago is also because of the comments that came in, partly because of the comments that came in from Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin and A. Raja of the DMK not too long ago, which is why I ask you.
See, our loss in the 3 states like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, we are, introspecting on that, and we are going to come up with more power. And in upcoming parliament elections, just like we have seen in 2018 elections, though we won in assembly elections, but we faced defeat when we compare with the parliamentary seats. So the trend of voters in all the 3 states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh, it is a contrast picture there, right? When it comes to assembly and parliament elections. So definitely this time we are expecting that the contrast decision will be repeating, and this time it will be favoring Congress party. We will think about doing better on ground. We will go with micro level management when it comes to politics. But I just don't want to mix these both statements of other leaders with our party progress.
Sure. So you're completely delinking your party with any comments that your allies make. You think that absolutely has no bearing?
So that should be their response. I just don't want to get into their shoes and give any statements on that.
Sure, and I'm not asking you to talk on behalf of the DMK because the member of parliament himself has come out and apologized. But I'm just asking you as an ally of this party, do you think that this is something that voters will forget and that it won't boomerang on the India alliance as a whole?
We are in alliance with them with respect to politics, which deals with only education, medical and health, progress, upliftment, empowerment and equality, but not about their freedom of expression. We are not going to deal with that. It is their freedom of expression and the response should be sought from themselves.
Sure. Sure. So let's not talk about the DMK. Let's talk about the Congress then. Several within the Congress linked to the Congress party in the last 2 days have tried to make this a north-south thing, go on to suggest that the voters in southern states are educated, are more literate, which is why they don't vote for the BJP.
See,
How do you think that would bear? How do you think that would bear for your party in the North Indian states come 2024?
Ma'am, it depends upon the interpretation and at what situation or the circumstances the statements are made. If you just crop the statement and put it at the highlighting topic, then the interpretation will be different. But if you see the whole statement under what context it was made, then it can be seen. So my explanation to this is, Congress party respects the preamble, Congress party respects the constitution. So we treat each and every state, we treat the entire country as one. And that is what our ideology is.
Sure. So there is no north-south divide. Gopal, Krishna, Agarwal. It's Congress's rivals who are trying to build that narrative, but that's really not what the Congress leaders were trying to say.
This is just a media thing that they are now saying because they have got on the wrong foot. The issue is their own leaders have been trying to do this divide. They have been talking about this. Ultimately, it is not only this north-south divide, even religion, even caste, even other issues. The Congress has been continuously playing the divisive politics since last 70 years of their existence. When they appease the minorities, they say that they have the first right on the resources of the country. Is it not a divisive politics that they are playing? Now they are talking about caste politics. They are trying to fuel those caste politics. They are trying to fuel religion against the voters, in the mind of the voter. They are even talking about the issues about North and South. Their leaders are talking about them. If they consider, we have never said that the Congress is a South-based party. So who is talking about the divisive politics? It's their leaders. So they have to answer. Now, if their associate in their alliance, somebody is saying about this Gaumutra, such a nasty comment that DMK leader has given in the parliament, and the Congress spokesperson is saying, no, it is their statement, we have alliance. They ask them, you as a political party, you should give this, you need to say this is wrong and we will not have alliance with DMK till they continue talking on this issue. So that means they have a tacit support on this divisive politics, and not one issue. There are several. You have also given those examples about religion, caste, even north, south. Everywhere they want to fuel divisive politics in the mind of the people and not finding the right issues for criticizing the government, not finding the right connect with the voters. They want to talk, and their whole campaign in the social media or anything, you will see that they will be abusive to the Prime Minister. They will abuse the country institutions. They will abuse the even all the democratical institutions in the country, and their voices and statements are being given leverages used at other countries' leaders.
Sure. Before I get in Mr. Pullarao and Savio Rodriguez, I want to get in Mr. Reddy again. Mr. Reddy, like the BJP was asking, no, you may not want to comment on what the DMK or its member of parliament has said, but as an ally, would you say that this is wrong and perhaps they should choose their words more carefully?
See, we are limited. Like we always address. If we just compare the addressings of our supreme leaders on any public gatherings, if you just compare the Honorable Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi,
This is the
BJP who always speak about divisive politics. Congress never speaks about divisive politics. He's saying that from past 70 years. But we keep fighting on inflation, we keep fighting on unemployment, we keep fighting on security, we keep fighting on equality.
So Congress is raising the issues that the voters want to hear about. But my question, Mr. Reddy, was simple. Would the Congress turn around to its ally and say that perhaps in the future ensure that your leaders, that your members of parliament do not use this kind of language, because in the end it may end up hurting the alliance as a whole?
Since we follow unity in diversity, any statements, contrast with that is not acceptable. And people who just make, I don't know the situation or the circumstance under which it was made. So I am not, able to, not able to respond to that because I didn't go through the statement. Under what circumstances he made it. So without going through it, how can I just make a statement which will go official now?
If you are so naive about the political narration, then what you are doing in politics? If you don't follow even what is being said in the parliament and say I have not heard about it, and you have come to discussion on the subject, what is this? So if you are so naive in politics, you are not in politics. There is a clear-cut statement in the parliament, floor of the parliament. We are debating on whether the Gaumutra statement by DMK leader is right or wrong. You have to say whether it is right or wrong. You cannot just drag your feet against that. I don't know. This is their statement. We are in alliance. We have alliance on the other issue.
People of this country, we believe people of this country are having that wisdom to analyze and understand that which political party is making what type of statement. Who is creating this polarization among communities? Who is creating polarization among religions? I strongly believe that people of this country are well aware and having wisdom on it.
So
I just wanted to stop BJP lecturing us on this.
And if 85% of our population respect Gaumata, and your alliance partner is
this is what the agenda of BJP. This is what the line of BJP is.
What is BJP?
I am talking about when there are matters.
Your alliance which has said it.
When there are matters which should be given more priority. When there are matters which should be given more priority, like unemployment or corruption or education or social welfare. So my point is, I just wanted to prioritize the aspects by which people are suffering.
So
your party
is not going to address the issues of public.
Sure.
So
the voter cares about the issues that matter to them, and these kind of comments don't really matter, is what the Congress says. Savil Rodriguez, do you believe that? Now, they say that a week is a long time in politics. We're 6 months away from 2024. But do you think this is something that voters would forget?
No, I don't think this is something that voters would forget, especially those that respect the Hindu faith, that respect Sanatan Dharma values. They are not going to forget it. Now, let me tell you why. As an Indian Christian, a lot of my understanding of Sanatan Dharma has come from my friends who are actually in south of India, okay, or as politicians call South India. A lot of our cultural aspects that I have learned about Sanatan Dharma has also come from South India. So when a DMK political leader like Senthil Kumar makes such a statement in categorizing North Indian states as Gaumutra states, I'm actually shocked at what are the Sanatan Dharma values that this particular political leader has grown up with. Because of lot of our cultural preservation, the Sanatan Dharma preservation, the values that are so rooted in our culture and our spiritualities. If you look at some of the leaders, the religious leaders, the spiritual leaders that have come from India and from Bharat have been mostly from south of India, like Adi Shankaracharya himself. So we are talking about great learned spiritual men coming out from south of India. You have seen them travel to different parts of India and spread their wisdom. And now you have political leaders, because of political brownie points as they would like to score, are willing to go down that abysmal pit to actually derogate Sanatan Dharma values, which is not becoming of the South value systems that they have, the cultural and the spiritual value system. So the problem is, when you have a political difference with any other political party, whether it's the BJP, whether it's the Congress, whether it's the Aam Aadmi Party, what has a person's religious faith got to do with it? Why are you taking swipes at beliefs in Gau Mata? Isn't that something that's derogatory to the faith of a larger majority of people in this country? And as an Indian Christian, I am surprised. I am surprised that we have to actually go down this path where today we are trying to work in a country where all religions respect the fact that we are Bharat, we are rising as Bharatiyas, We are moving towards the new future of what Bharat should be as one country, as one nation. And we are rooted by our Sanatan Dharma values. What is the meaning of being Sanatan? Or what is Sanatan Dharma? It's about finding the God in you and finding the God around you. What has politics got to do with it? What has insulting Gaumata or Gaumutra got to do with it? It's a person's faith. For your political reasons, if you want to derogate religion, you want to derogate Sanatan Dharma, you are going to face the consequences of the negativity that comes when you derogate Sanatan Dharma. And that is exactly what you're seeing happening to most people who try to attack it. Therefore, political leaders should keep religion out of discourse, understand that we are all children of the same mother, and that mother is Bharat Mata. It does not matter whether we are Hindus, Christians, Muslims, Sikh, Parsis. A mother does not distinguish between her children. To a mother, a child is a child, irrespective of the color, irrespective of the structure of the body. It's the same with a nation. Bharat Mata loves everybody in the same respect.
Absolutely. And politicians, members of parliament especially, needs to be able to draw that line. They need to not be tone deaf, as many would call it. And Pularao, voters and what remains in voters' memory is one thing. What happens to the alliance partners? There's definitely going to be unease among them when comments like this or tags like this are given to the North Indian states. For example, Akhilesh Yadav of the Samajwadi Party or Nitish Kumar, who are part of this alliance, are not going to take this kindly. It happens every now and then. Perhaps the DMK will not lose or gain come election season for these comments, but their allies might just.
Does it really matter what that MP said? Is it going to sway votes? Either way, I think with due humility, Mr. Mohan Reddy should have simply said, it is a different party matter, you go and ask them. You go and ask them, why should the Congress be linked? If tomorrow they can't be linked to, say, Mamata Banerjee says something, your ally part, alliance is not an agreement written according to the constitution. It is a loose organization that will be together, will fight elections, nothing is settled. They don't have a common ideology. They don't have anything. Article 19(1) gives you the right to say what you want, and in Parliament you can say anything. Anything. They have immunity. I do agree with what Mr. Savio has said. Many of the things are worthwhile. We can respect that. But in the long run, I believe that the BJP, it's a very active party. It will make inroads on the south. Maybe not in 1 year, in 5 years, 10 years, because it is working there. But to think that this kind of thing will create some wave impact is not correct. I heard someone say that in these 3 states, BJP won because of it. Not at all. These remarks made by some obscure politician in the south or somebody wanting media publicity had nothing to do, I don't think, in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Is Mr. Gopal Agarwal saying they had an impact there? I would not think so. They have a huge party there, they did it. These remarks, usually from some politicians, not they say all kinds of things. There are politicians in UP who talk as they like. And one big change has occurred in the demography of this country. Do you know in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and even Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, I'm not sure, how many millions of people have come from northeast, north, and working there? Millions. There's more integration than you'll ever give credit for. There are millions of Telugus working in Surat and other places in Gujarat. There's so much or in Maharashtra. There's so much of mobility. I don't think there's anything called a north-south divide. And I don't think, and Mr. Senthil himself, he's apologized to some extent. I've seen on your screen, he said I should have used better words. Karti Chidambaram has condemned them also. They can't condemn them outright. They're allies. Their sensitivity is there. And I think that maybe, are we overplaying it? Maybe. I want to put this to you. Are we overplaying it? Are we giving it momentum, traction, when it should be ignored? Or you go on the larger issue, international issue. Today, there's so much of thing going on against Jewishness, anti-Jewishness. Should we become like that? I think you should ignore these things. They're not going to get them votes. Tamil Nadu also has moved forward. And frequently I hear questions put to the Congress party or anybody else, your allies, at that. I think, DMK comes from a different culture. Parties in Tamil Nadu had come from a different culture. And some of them have splintered away. There is still a radical core there. They say these things for their own needs. I don't know
Sure.
whether they influence the electorate that much in Tamil Nadu or outside, or hamper the BJP in the south, or hamper the Congress in the north.
Sure, but Mr. Pullarao, then are you saying that this entire alliance in itself, don't you then think that it just sends a very confused message to the voter? That, well, you have no common ground, you won't openly call out anyone for doing something that you find objectionable because you're an alliance, but you also won't be held liable for what they say.
So there will be a minimum program. All alliances have a common minimum program, and they go by that. Remember the time when Shiv Sena was an ally of the BJP. The Shiv Sena had a very extreme Hindutva stance as compared to the BJP. Did the BJP curb them? Did the BJP control them? They didn't. I'm sure you would recollect that not long ago, Uddhav Thackeray's father was very much in the BJP from 1994. And therefore, I think, perhaps these remarks by some politicians are not nice to hear. They are not good for anyone. They are creating polarization. They are making people angry. Is there something called hate speech? Can it work? If hate speech doesn't work, laws when you make it in Parliament or the Assembly, there's immunity there.
Yes, and
Therefore,
that comment has been
maybe
expunged already out of public record.
expunction of a remark is different from legal action. You can't take legal action.
Yes.
You can say anything about anybody in Parliament. There's immunity. Therefore,
Sure.
maybe the next stage in India is to have a real hate speech laws, decisions from the Supreme
Sure.
Court, High Court, so that there is something concrete. What constitutes hate speech? What constitutes something you can take legally actionable laws? That they are not there. They're very vague, very, very vague. That does require a second look, a third look, to make it clear that in a vast society like India, you can't have frequent fights with others over caste and over religion. It is kind of tearing up society. I agree with that.
Absolutely. So the broader picture also needs to be looked into. But Gopal Krishna Agarwal, would you agree then that we have a 26-party alliance as far as the India bloc is concerned? Well, they may differ on multiple things, they may say different things, but in the end, their one aim is to beat the BJP in 2024. As long as they have that one aim and they come jointly on that, they will put up a formidable front. That's what many within the alliance also believe. So all of these comments are on the side, they're a side story and must not be paid much attention to.
Poonamji, I'll answer your question, but 2 points I want to underline is when the DMK leader says that I should have chosen a better word, that itself means that he stands by his comment, but he is just saying that the ideology or the thought is same, but he should have chosen a better word. So the thing is that there is no apology, nothing. So we have to talk. We are talking about the mindset of this DMK opposition leaders, that they are working in the country on a divisive agenda. One thing, they want to undermine Sanatan Dharma, and when Mr. Savio says so extensively how he talked about how the cultural, religion, temples, architecture, music, dance, scriptures, Ved, everything have been preserved inside the South. I have been to many places in Kerala for elections and other places. I have seen in Tamil Nadu how the Sanatan Dharma have been preserved there. They have the educational institutions, they have the ashrams, they have universities where the things are preserved. So the South itself has been preserving Sanatan Dharma to a very large extent. North had seen so many invasions, and many of the cultural heritage or cultural content have been lost in the North. So the one thing is that this mindset of divisive politics is bad for the country. And another point that I would like to underline is, if you are talking about the vote only, that this will benefit, I will not do because it will hurt my vote bank with the majority, then itself is talking about your mindset. So you have to, basic conviction, basic ideology, basic thought of opposition is divisive. This is one point. Second, when the Prime Minister talks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, our welfare scheme, maximum benefits are going to everybody without any difference of
Sure.
caste, religion.
Sure. So if we're talking about track record, then,
the thing
Mr.
is,
Reddy.
we have to differentiate between mindset of the opposition about divisive politics.
Sure, and
mindset
that's something that the Prime
of
Minister spoke of in the morning as well. Mohan Reddy, I want you to have the last word on this and a quick rebuttal to what the BJP was saying. As far as the track record is concerned, the BJP today at the central government level can boast about how they've worked for every single section, for the tribals, for the scheduled caste, for women. Is it possible for the India Alliance to match that record in the next 6 months in the lead up to 2024?
For that, first they have to change their mindset.
Sure. Mr. Reddy, go ahead.
We'll do far better than BJP. And we proved it earlier also. See, when we
This
just
arrogance-
compare this decade time with the history, as well as, the prospects will build. So, when we compare with the inflation, when we compare with the employment, when we compare with the development, when we come up with the new PSUs,
macroeconomic
whatever the sector it may be,
parameter
whatever the
just-
sector it may be.
Mr. Agarwal, let him finish, please.
Whatever the sector it may be. So that is what we are confined to the subject now. We are talking about progress report, what people really need. See, both religion and politics should not be mixed. They should not be mixed. Religion is all about devotion and your spirituality. That's a different aspect. But because they don't have anything to say, they don't have any progress report to show to the public of this country.
Sure.
They are resorting to such things.
But
But in this particular context, the Prime Minister was actually talking about divisive politics. He was talking about multiple issues, including the caste census speech that has been made by several within the Congress party. It's not just about the comments that came in from the DMK member of parliament. And like I said earlier, he has also come out and apologized. We do not yet have anybody from within the DMK come out and say anything. Sure. On his part, he says it's an apology. On his part, he says, I apologize for saying what I said. Unfortunately, whether this remains in public memory or not, we can't say as of now. We're still 6 months away from elections. The BJP, of course, will want this to be in public memory and not just affect the DMK, but affect the rest of the 25 parties in the India bloc as well. The Congress, of course, believes this is going to blow over. Which way does it go? We'll find out sooner than later. I have to leave it at that. I thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here on this broadcast with your perspective. Slipping into a quick break on this edition of The Right Stand, but on the other side, it's the election season and the fallout of it continues. Several excuses coming to the fore of why exactly the Congress lost. Many within the opposition now asking if we should go back to ballot paper era and do away with EVMs because they can be easily tampered with. That debate coming up next.